Hey, modern math teacher, Kristen Moore here, and I've got a really big question for you today. How often do your students ask, when am I ever going to use this? And if your answer is literally every unit, then today's episode is for you. Today, you guys, we are diving into the power of real world math applications and how to layer them into your core content, not just tag them in at the end, okay? So, whether you're teaching algebra, geometry, math 8, this is how we make math meaningful again. So, are you up for it? Let's do this. Let's get into it right now. Here's the key, you guys. We need to know, why does relevance matter and why is it missing in my classroom right now? Okay. So let's be real. Math often feels like a checklist of skills. Solve this, graph that, factor for this, right? And without real world applications, students feel like they're solving these like puzzles for no reason at all. And honestly, they're right then, right? Here's the thing, math itself doesn't need to change, but the context we frame math up in does. You see, we can teach the exact same content and make it feel way more relevant to our students just by shifting the frame. Okay. So, whether you use math projects, daily hooks, anchor activities, or an explore first, formalize later style of task, the goal here is the same. You want to spark curiosity in your students. You want to connect to your students' lives, their interests, their aspirations. And you want to show them that math is a tool to use, a reasoning and problem solving tool, not just a subject to be learned and mastered. Okay. This is what real world math curriculum is all about and why it boosts both engagement and retention of concepts. Win win, my friends. Okay. So let's talk about a couple of different examples, right? So I have taught literally every level of math that you can imagine, from, pre algebra, algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2, personal finance, stats classes, like a pre-calc style, trig with algebra, all the different things, right? And I have been able to bring in real world applications into all of these classes, okay? So I know that if I can do it, you can too. So here are a couple of examples of projects that I've brought in to let's just focus on algebra because I'm teaching algebra again this year. Here are some of my favorite algebra applications to show them. First up, when you're just getting started with linear equations and slope and like, what does this even mean? I love using the slope ramp project. Why? Because your students are designing and testing different ramps to explore how slope affects speed. And, speed is just distance divided by time. Speed in and of itself is a rate, is a slope. And so giving them that physical, tangible connection between the two things is just exactly what your students need to conceptually understand slope as a rate of change. And we know understanding that concept really helps our students later in different classes. So they are then measuring the slope for like a purpose. And they're arguing and discussing like, well, it's too steep. And if it's this steep, then it's gonna go this far. And if it's, it's gonna go this fast and we want to win the race and whatever it is, right? You've given your students a real world math problem. You've given them the opportunity to collect some data and you've given them the power to express their voice and to discuss their findings. It's just a fantastic way to get that done. Plus, it's fun, right? Okay. Um, Exponential functions, whether you want to do the like going viral route, which I always love to do, or save for success if you want to incorporate solving exponentials and bringing in just a little bit of those logs, right? So you can have your students either track how fast a disease is going to spread. And it is about to be cold in COVID season again, so it's a good one to bring up right now as our students are going to start getting sick. Or how fast your money compounds, different saving strategies, and again, like I said, solving. So these are two really good ways to teach exponential functions depending on what your goal is. So if your goal is just to talk about growth and decay and to learn the basics, go with going viral. Okay. If your goal is to see how to like write it for these different contexts, how to evaluate the functions for different events, and then how to solve with them using logarithms, go with save for success. Okay. Both of these use equations, they use graphs, but they're grounded in either, right? Like what disease, right? Disease, medical, medicinal needs, or financial literacy. Two very real and tangible things for our students. Okay. And then another fan favorite is anything with data and statistics using some sports stats, right? It's football season. Okay. So you could absolutely have them run their fantasy numbers. You could have them start making predictions for the school year. It is also getting close to playoff season in baseball. So you could have them looking at stats for their favorite player, right? So, anything like that. Your students can compare player stats, they can find different intersection points, they can debate who is the best pick. This is where engagement meets application because it's something that they have a voice and a choice in, and they're exploring something that actually matters to them. Okay. So, again, each of those are real practical examples of algebra that students can see, they can touch, they can discuss, they can argue about, and they can care about. And when you give them that opportunity, that's when they start seeing that math is meaningful and not just this isolated set of skills. Okay. So, all right, I know it's September and maybe you're not ready for a full project right now, but here are some ways that you can start small and super low prep, okay? Because not every day needs to be this giant simulation or a multi-week project. Listen, I taught in a fully PBL school and ain't nobody got time for that 24/7, okay? Unless you are specifically in a fully PBL school, you don't have time for it, okay? So here are 3 low prep ways to bring real-world math into your lessons this week that I want for you to try out. Number 1, use some real data, okay? Pull stats from, the CDC, Google Analytics, social media trends, sports sites, or even polling your own class. And then have your students analyze or graph something that matters to them based on those statistics. So come up with a trending topic or idea, or maybe it's your local sports team, whatever it is that you want to do, use real data. Let your students see and play with real numbers. Remember, real life math is messy. It's not perfect numbers. So let them explore and grapple with that. Okay. Number 2, frame a problem around a real question. So, um, you know, how long would it take to save for a concert ticket? Maybe there's a big show coming to town near you. I know in my hometown, there is a farm tour. Luke Bryan is going to be playing. He maybe will have already played by the time this airs, but it's a big deal and people want to go. So instead of saying, like, we're going to graph this function, write an equation to match the situation, we want to say, like, how long would it take to save for that concert ticket? If they know how much money they make at a job, how much the ticket costs, whatever it is. And then once they've done that, they've done the solving, right? It's the same math, but it's a better hook because now that they've done it, you can say, like, oh, well, let's see what the graph of that would look like. Let's see what it looks like as an equation. Let's see what it looks like as a table. And you can connect the 4 representations together, right? So again, frame a problem around a real question, and then math comes naturally after that. Okay. Number 3, you could start with a warm up with a real math scenario. We got all sorts of warm ups, especially a full year for Algebra 1. Teachers already ready to go in TPT, working on finishing up the Algebra 2 right now. But you can even have ChatGPT help you come up with these if you need something for this week. Okay. So maybe it's Monday and you post to your students, your group has $60 to spend on pizza for 8 people. What's the plan? See, they know about pizza. They can argue. They can talk about where would we go? Who has the best pizza? It opens up discussion and dialogue. And then you're trying to figure out how they can get the most bang for their buck, right? They're going to argue, they're going to engage, and then they'll do the actual math. Win, win, you guys. This is when and how you turn the when am I ever going to need this into like, wait, that's actually kind of useful, right? And that's what we want our students to see is that math is useful. It is a tool that they can use to model and explore their world. And real world math applications are how you can make your core content feel relevant again. Okay. So here's your challenge this week, you guys. I want you to add one real world connection to your lesson, even if it's just a warm up or an exit ticket. Okay. And remember, you guys, you do not need to rewrite your entire curriculum. You just need to reframe the context you already teach. Because when we use real world math applications, students stop asking the why and start asking the like, well, what's next? What else can I do with that? All right, you guys. Hey, for more real world ideas, check out the Ready to Go projects inside the Modern Math Teacher membership or inside my TPT store. Jump into our Facebook group. We'd love to hear what your students are doing and connecting with. And hey, if you found this useful, I would appreciate it if you could share it with a colleague. Every share, every like helps to spread the word, and so that more math teachers can bring real world math to classrooms all over the United States. We've even got listeners worldwide. I shout out to all of you. Share it with somebody around you so that students and teachers can learn how real world math applications are going to boost student engagement just by making your core content feel relevant again. All right, you guys, until next time, keep it real.